What's going on, guys? We have a very special video today. I'm actually interviewing a good friend of mine named Perry. He currently is a data scientist at PrizePicks. He's worked for companies like DraftKings in the past, and we're just gonna have him drop some sauce to you guys, pretty much talk a little bit about sports betting. I will be very blatantly obvious or blunt up front. There are some things that he's not allowed to talk about, obviously, so we can't get too much into the nitty-gritty stuff, but he can definitely provide some value for you guys. And yeah, Barry, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, thank you, Bill. So my name is Perry. I currently work at PrizePicks as a data scientist. I previously worked for Canby, who was contracted out by DraftKings, Barstool, Unibet for their lines. So Canby is a B2B, and DraftKings, Barstool, Unibet would pay them for their lines, and I was responsible for putting lines on the board, making models that put the lines up, and that's kind of what I'm doing now at PrizePicks. I am working on sports projection models and yeah, giving our game ops team good lines that they can use for the board.
Cool, cool. And then what sports do you typically specialize in, or do you all do all of them, or has it changed throughout the years?
Yep. So I originally started at Canby with college basketball. That was my favorite sport, or that is my favorite sport. Big Villanova basketball fan. Villanova basketball is dead, but I think I was the first person in the world to be making college basketball player props on a daily basis. So I was posting them for Canby, DraftKings, Barstool, Unibet would all have them, and there was no market reference. Like I couldn't copy FanDuel, I couldn't copy DraftKings or Circa or any of those other sites that started. I guess I was making for DraftKings, but I couldn't copy any other site that was making college basketball lines. So every day I was going to a spreadsheet and kind of just freehanding it based on last 5, 10 games, career averages, how they've done against certain teams. And this was before I knew how to code. So it was a very manual process. And it took me like 3 hours a day to do one uh, big Tuesday or big Saturday um, Sonic
That's
Plus
cool.
blockbuster as they said. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Do you mind me asking, did you just do like the big players or everyone?
So I would usually do like any ranked game. So if there was not ranked, but any ranked team, I would do them. And if they were playing a terrible team that's not really worth putting up props, then I wouldn't do them unless they had
Gotcha.
a player like I don't know, someone who was good who would score 20 points and 10 rebounds, someone who people would like to bet on. So
Cool,
people
cool.
what they wanted. At least I tried to.
And then what's your day to day like right now?
So right now, Prize Picks. So going back to all the basketball stuff, I started off in basketball, moved over to football, just because seasons change and sports change. So you have to get a sense of every sport. So we were doing football, basketball, baseball, can be, and now Prize Picks. The first few models I was asked to do were esports related. So got a pretty wide spectrum of all different sports here. So now my day to day at Prize Picks is it's different every day. That's what everyone says, but for me, it's
Yeah,
really different because we have, as a data scientist, you have projects that last 4 months long. So you're always focused on those projects, but there's stuff that comes up in between. Like every day, it's like here's an issue, pull out this fire, or we need something to do that does this, that does that. Please make models for this week or next week that do this kind of thing. So
I
every
gotcha.
day is different. Being a data scientist, you kind of make your own schedule. So it's nice because you have month-long projects and week-long projects. It's not like get this done within the hour, which is really nice. Um, so a lot of freedom, work with the best people in the world.
Cool.
And yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Gotcha. Well, another question to spin off of that is I always tell my followers that they should be betting, or obviously betting meaning DraftKings, FanDuel, or making picks on an app like Prize Picks based off of numbers, analytics, and not their opinions. Do you think that's a true statement, or do you think there's some merit to either betting or making picks on those apps using your opinions?
Yep. So everything in sports betting, just like the stock market, it's all about numbers. Everything has a price, everything has a value, uh, has an expected value, all that kind of stuff. So if you don't bet with numbers, you're putting yourself behind. Um, no matter how much research you're doing, there are people who are paid to do that research 8 hours a day, and they probably know more than you, unless it's a
Yeah.
very small niche market. So your research isn't going to do it. You really should be using numbers. The hard part about that is being disciplined. Even I'm not disciplined, so do some,
Hmm.
I tilt sometimes. It doesn't
Yeah.
end up well
Even me, like
sometimes, but
I always preach to people like you always should be using numbers, but like I do believe it's okay every once in a while. Maybe not when I'm on tilt, but like for example,
yeah,
I'm an Eagles fan, so I bet on the Eagles sometimes for fun.
yeah,
Obviously smaller than my normal bets, but like in general, yeah.
yeah.
Um,
It's smart. It's all about discipline. So if you can limit the wager, limit the amount of times you get off track, you'll be all
yeah.
right.
And
Uh,
then kind of going back to what you were saying, how there's guys that these books and apps employ just to look at this stuff 8 hours a day. Would you say like you guys are actively on top of things, maybe not even at Prize Picks, but just in general, the entire industry in terms of like when a player's hot, when a player's cold in their last five, or are you guys like, as you said earlier, looking at their whole seasons when you make lines, or like, do you think the last like 10 games affects where the line is at already? Like, is that already baked into your markets? Is what I'm saying.
yeah, it's definitely baked in. There's stuff to look at, like um, what you were saying in the beginning of that question is like, are they doing research here? Or there, I don't forget exactly what it was. I forget
Hmm.
exactly what it was, but um, I have tweet notifications on if there's ever an injury. All the sports books, they'll suspend their line. That's a huge opportunity to make money there if you can beat the books to changing the line. So if I
I
always give
got you.
this example, yeah, like if Giannis is out, you want to go bet like Bobby Portis over rebounds or someone else over rebounds, Brook Lopez, whoever else is going to take those minutes. If you can get like that's just clear value there. If you're beating the books and they have lines up assuming that a monster's playing, then
Yeah,
you get good value there.
I was gonna
Uh,
say then, like that means so like for example, let's say you do bet on sports outside of Prize Picks, obviously. So like what you're saying is maybe if you have Twitter notifications on, you see a player's out, you can jump onto FanDuel and get that bet in before they change their markets. That's a good way to win, stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly. That's always the goal. I have the notifications on. The books have gotten so fast that it's tough these days. But a couple years ago, it used to be a lot easier. So
Yeah,
if you can find like smaller beat writers that have inside information of the team, not inside information, but they're the ones who actually break the news, and then it gets tweeted out by a bigger account
I
that
got you.
everyone else follows. Like Woj, if he tweets that Kawhi is going to be out tonight, everyone's going to know about it. But if a local LA guy tweets it out, then you can maybe beat the books to that.
Makes sense, makes sense. And then do you have any experiences like I do getting limited or banned from any of these apps? Like I can't even bet $5 or $10 on BetMGM. So do you have that
Yeah, it's
experience?
terrible. Yeah, so DraftKings, they limited me right away. I can only bet like $10 on money lines and $1 on any kind of player prop. FanDuel, they probably hopefully they don't hear this, but I got my mom's account banned a while ago, but they didn't get me yet, so I'm good to go there.
Do you
Uh,
think DraftKings just did that because you worked for them?
Maybe I don't really know what I did to them. FanDuel, I definitely understand, but DraftKings, I don't like. I didn't do too well there. It's not like I deserved to get banned or anything. But
It's weird.
yeah. So
Um,
I exploited FanDuel a few years ago. They were not brand new, but they didn't know everything, and they had a darts tournament up, and you could parlay like the champion and the semifinals winners together. So I just did every single combination, and you're getting like plus 800 minimum on everyone to win the tournament when they're like plus 120. So it's a big arb there, which guarantees you
cool.
money.
I was gonna say, yeah, that's that's pretty crazy.
Yeah,
Um, so yeah, I think that's the core part of the interview right now. I guess I wanted to leave it open to you. Do you think there's anything else you wanted to talk about? And as we said earlier, there are some things we can't get into, obviously, but yeah, is there anything else you wanted to discuss? big bets you have coming up? Anything that any stories or anything besides the darts or no?
Um,
Or
fun.
maybe who's your pick to win the NBA Finals? Let's put it at that if you don't have anything else.
Well, I'm a Sixers fan. I had tickets. Game 7 was supposed to be tonight. I had tickets to go to it, so that's disappointing. Um, I was gonna have such a fun weekend. I was gonna have a camp friend come up, and we were just gonna have a lot of fun. And I don't know, it was
Yeah.
a great weekend, so can't go to that. But I'm also a Villanova fan, so it's hard to root for the Knicks after they just beat us. But they have 3 Villanova guys, so I probably won't be able to watch them play this next round because just PTSD. But if they make it to the finals, I hope they win. I think the Nuggets are going to win again, though. They're I don't know, just as good as last year. Everyone's saying they're not as good, but they're just as good.
So I'll
Uh,
go lock in the Nuggets.
yeah, yeah.
Kidding, kidding.
Yeah,
Um,
everyone go bet the house on it.
but
No,
yeah,
just kidding.
bro, I really do appreciate the time. I know it was pretty short. Maybe we could do a longer one in the future, maybe a little bit less prize picks or sports betting central. But I do appreciate the time. Hope some of you guys learned something. And then yeah, subscribe.